Welcome back to another episode of Tropicana. Today we're going to be reviewing the 2021 AMG GTR. We'll definitely be getting into the driving experience and how it handles traffic in just ordinary everyday life. It's got a front mid-engine 4-litre hot V twin-turbo V8, putting out 720 horsepower and 590 foot-pounds of torque through a 7-speed transaxle to the rear wheels. Let's have a closer look around the vehicle, shall we? And see what makes this thing so special apart from other Mercedes models. I mean, well, for starters, look at it. It's absolutely gorgeous. You know, there's absolutely nothing fake on this car. There's no fake vents. Everything has a purpose. On the front, all the opening vents and all the plastic, you can see those vents, they all actually do something. It's got active aero that sucks the car onto the road. That's why it doesn't need a huge back wing. It's only got a small one. But most of the aero is underneath and you can't see it. But I can guarantee you it's there and it sticks to the road like put to a blanket. Let's pop the hood. You can have a look at what makes this beastie cook. Well, because this car's primary market was the United States, the bonnet catch is on the left-hand side of the car. So here we have a hand-built 4-litre twin-turbo V8 built by Christopher Bolt. The engine was handcrafted by him. You can see the turbos in the hot V. I won't put my hand anywhere near it because we've been driving and it is incredibly hot. So you have the 2 turbochargers with the exhaust exiting from the top of the motor rather than the sides. That means that there's next to no turbo lag on this car. As you'll see in the upcoming video, the boost comes on from as low as 2,000 RPM. That's where it produces its peak torque. But you can also see how far back the engine is positioned. The engine doesn't actually start until the back of this plastic cover. The front axle line is about half a foot in front of it, so it's mid-engine and sat so low in the vehicle. First thing you notice with the front wheels is the huge carbon ceramic ventilated discs on the front. I can tell you that physically hurts. I have bruised my collarbone because of these brakes, but they're brilliant. They are absolutely brilliant. It's supposed to be a Grand Tourer, so there isn't really that much room inside, but there's enough for 2 people and some luggage. I mean, the interior isn't exactly huge. Anybody over 6 foot, as you'll note when I'm driving it, anyone who's taller than 6 foot is going to have a problem. There is a fair amount of luggage space. Plus, when we bought the vehicle, of course, we've got a couple of Mercedes caps and an AMG bag with a really, really nice AMG blanket. So it does fill the Grand Tourer role quite well. So it does have some practicality. Some. It is still a race car at heart after all. Well, I think it's about time that we got this thing out on the road and see what she can do. Come on in. Driving impressions are overall the interior is really well appointed. It is really tiny in here though. I'm only 5'10". I'm not a big bloke. Anybody who's like 6 foot and over, they would not have fun in here at all. The seats are really nicely bolstered. They hold you in position because this thing has ridiculous cornering speeds. The amount of aero that keeps this thing on the ground. I mean, doing 2 Gs of lateral acceleration is natural. It's easy. It does it with ease. The appointment, everything you touch is either leather, Alcantara, aluminium, or a quality plastic. Everything in here feels like it costs $500,000, which, funnily enough, that's what it cost. The 4-litre twin turbo hot V8 matched with a 7-speed automatic dual clutch. It has lightning speed changes. The suspension's firm but not overly firm. It doesn't rattle your bones. But that sound, that sound is just epic. And when you drop it down another gear, that's when it gets nasty. Sometimes, even now, I've been doing that for a while now, and even that makes me speechless. It's V8 Thunder that every red-blooded carner loves. The steering is razor sharp. This is the first time I could say that about any Mercedes I've driven. Usually the steering's a little bit wallowy, but it's razor sharp. You move it a millimetre and you feel it. I am in comfort mode. You don't want to put the suspension in track mode unless you're on a track or Sports Plus, because it'll just rattle any fillings loose, and you really don't need it, especially where we are in central Queensland, because let's just say the roads aren't exactly the best. The brakes are painful when you use them fully. They're massive. I think they're 370 millimetre, 380 millimetre carbon ceramic discs, and they never fade. But they have left a bruise along my collarbone where I've hit the anchors pretty hard just to see. And on Michelin Pilot Sport Cup 2 tyres, you're not unsticking this thing unless you're being stupid with the throttle and with the traction control off. And even I haven't had the traction control completely off on this. When I switch it to individual mode, it switches it to 3 out of 12, which gives it a bit more. You get a bit more slip angle, but doesn't. It also reins it in before you manage to destroy 2 very expensive tyres. We'll have to mention fuel economy. Anybody who buys one of these cars doesn't buy it for the economy. I'll have a look now on the dashboard. This morning I've been averaging 21.1 litres per 100 k's, and since the start of this trip it's only been 38 k's, so you can cruise, but if you start putting your foot down, you can literally watch your fuel tank gauge just drop. The road holding of this AMG is absolutely sublime. The four-wheel steering combined with race-tuned suspension and these really sticky Michelin Pilot Sport Cup 2s make this thing go like a banana. It's so secure in its handling, it feels like it's got super glue on each corner. It won't go anywhere. It always leaves you feeling secure that it's going where the wheels are pointed and only where the wheels are pointed. It's very easy to drive around town. Four-wheel steering makes it a joy to park. When it's about the same size as a Camry, it's not very big, but it just appears that it's got a very long bonnet. It is very wide though, so there are a few tight scrapes in cities, I would imagine. Okay, well, I've got to refer to the accident that happened with the front bumper, the damage that you might have spotted. The owner, who's a real character in himself, was driving the car. It's daily driven. He was running some errands, and as he pulled out of an intersection, a person was speeding, and they slammed on their brakes. Their anti-lock brakes didn't work, but it ended up being such a low impact crash. Maybe 15 kilometres an hour was the impact speed, just enough to puncture a hole in the headlight and crack the bumper.
Looking all around everywhere. I said go. He was looking that way. I was looking around, but that front pillar and the
mirror
and the way that the road turns, where I was coming out of the stop intersection. So I've gone to pull out, and this girl's come around the corner and
just makes you cry.
oh well, no, shit happened.
It could have been worse. It could have been a lot
No one
worse.
got hurt, so
It could have been so much worse.
cars are replaceable.
True. So $9,000 for a headlight, a couple of grand for the bumper, panel and paint, all said and done. It's going to end up being about $15,000 worth of damage all up. And as you just heard, one of the parking sensors keeps going off, so I have to keep turning the parking sensors off. But that's how it happened. And that's what happens when you've got daily driven cars. Stuff happens to them. They get used. You know, they're driven, they're loved, they're enjoyed. So yeah, so that's what happened with the accident. Coming up on next week's episode, we have a review of a classic, future classic BMW sports car. And also we have an update on the clubhouse. So we'll even take you inside the clubhouse to show you where we're starting from. Anyway, until then, I'll see you next week. In the meantime, be cool, people.